Hello and welcome to a review of Chapter 2, Season 7 of Fortnite by a Casual. Now listen, I understand I'm not really a YouTuber. I'm a really small guy. Not many people watch my videos, but I don't really care because I am maybe the most casual player of video games you will ever meet in your life. And I think, honestly, some people might want to hear this opinion. There's some pretty cool stuff in here, and I'm going to review the whole season, my thoughts and stuff on like the battle pass and the season as a whole, and then I'm also going to give some theories to next season because I got a lot of stuff right last season. So, without further ado, let's just hop right into it. We're going to start off with the battle pass. So I'm going to be real with you. The battle pass this season was pretty good, but there was a few problems that really held it back from being, the best. So for starters, let's talk positives, okay? First off, Chimera, it's your Maya style customizable skin of the season, and I think they did it perfectly. I think they could have definitely given him like a helmet or something you could add, but other than that, I think it was a really cool skin, a lot of customization, and honestly, finding the Chimera parts, it wasn't very hard, and you just kind of had to look up a YouTube video after somebody else found it and go from there. It was pretty cool. Joey skin, that was sick, right? The original style looks dope, like this really tough, beat up dude covered in tattoos and scars. Like, you don't want to mess with that guy. But then it turns out he's actually an alien, which alien season, perfectly themed. It was pretty cool. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the alien skin itself, but it matches and it fits the theme, so I'll give him that. You also had Zig, the sick robot dude. That guy is just amazing. Literally the second I saw him, I was like, yeah, I need to get this skin. It's super unique. Like, he's this big, buff robot dude, but then he's also got like skinny limbs and stuff, so he looks like super nimble. It's just a really cool, unique skin overall with a really cool color scheme, and it fits in because the little alien dude on his back controls him. So, fits the theme. That's really cool. I'm not a superhero guy, but heck, even Superman was really cool. I wish he wouldn't have been the quote-unquote secret skin because it feels like secret skins aren't very secret anymore. But still, fits the theme, and it looks really cool. Next, we have Sloan. Sloan is an amazing skin. Her original style is not my favorite, but it at least fits because she's like the IO leader or whatever. But her armored style is so cool. It reminds me of like Jaeger from Rainbow Six Siege, how it's kind of like that tactical yet also casual look, and it's so cool, and I really think that should have been tier 100. Now here's where the issues come. First off, tier 100. Why in the world is Rick tier 100? Now, a part of me sees why this makes sense, right? Like, I could totally see him, like, he's a really unique skin, honestly kind of cool looking skin. I could totally see why people would be like, yo, I want Rick, I want that dude. But the problem is, Fortnite is a game that has a lot of kids that play it. And the problem with having Rick is that like 99% of the people who play your game are not going to know who that even is, or really be allowed to watch the show, let's be honest. Also, it's a collab skin. Why are we having a collab skin as a tier 100? It's the exact same thing that made me almost quit Fortnite back in Season 4 when they added all the Marvel stuff. You're going to make this entire thing themed around something that not everybody likes. Some like TV show / movie thing that not everybody likes. It's pretty dumb. Let's move on to Sunny. She fits. Don't get me wrong. I just think as a skin, they were just trying to get all the sweats and stuff, and I hate sweats, so there's that. Also, she's like this weird, quirky, alien-loving girl who hates humans and Earth and has terrible music. So, yeah, there's that. We have Gugamon. Gugamon's like a cool-looking skin, but it just doesn't fit. It's this not real, like fake computerized celebrity who just tries to act like he's this cool, break the rules, radical skater dude, wear unique out there clothing, and it just doesn't work. It's just really cheesy. And it's a good looking skin, but I just don't think it fits, especially for the battle pass. Yeah, overall, I'd say this was a pretty decent battle pass. It's probably like a 6 or 7 out of 10, not the best, but pretty good. Next, let's talk about the map. Now, just like the battle pass, I have a lot of positives and a lot of negatives for the map. On the positive side, I think there were some really cool locations. I love how Boney Burbs was carried over from last season. It gave us a little hint of that season, and although I know not a lot of people like it, I really liked it. I really like how they basically rebooted Stealthy Stronghold, so they, kind of made a reason to land there again, because I feel like a lot of people stopped landing there, and in my opinion, one of my favorite locations. Corny Complex is basically is it Fatal or no? It's Frenzy. It's Frenzy Farm in Chapter 2. It's basically just Frenzy Farm. So I guess it's kind of cool that came back, but that's honestly about it. The rest of the good changes really came throughout the season. I think the abducted POIs were so cool, and when they said, hey, we can, or we're gonna make the map change as the season progresses and the battle goes on. I mean, I think they could have definitely done a lot more than just abduct the POIs, but I think it's really fun, playing, like, Corny's being abducted right now. It's really fun to play there. I mean, I love the Slurpy Swamp abduction. It's just a really cool concept overall, and it really makes the game more diverse, and, especially when it comes to Coral Castle, actually made people land there for once, which it's not a bad location. I don't know why nobody liked to land there. Yeah, some, like, big negatives. They didn't really change anything on the outsides of the map. They did, I will say, at the radar stations, and those are really cool. I love those. I think that really adds a lot of diversity to the map to just have those every once in a while. But that's not gonna work. Okay. Do you remember in Chapter 2, Season 3, which was my favorite season of Chapter 2, probably my second favorite season of all time, how the entire map, every single bit of the map they didn't even have to be named locations, just a lot of different cool locations there, like little islands and boats and stuff that were worth landing at. I really want that back again. This season, just like most seasons of Chapter 2, it seems, they didn't really touch the outskirts of the map. Like nothing really happened besides the Corny and the Slurpy abduction, which was just the location basically turning into chunks, which is really cool. In terms of, like, actual legitimate, like, game-changing new locations and that kind of stuff, they didn't do anything, and that, I just don't understand why they continue to do that every single season. Another thing is the middle of the map. Normally, the middle of the map is, like, the coolest part, like either a hot drop or, in my opinion, a really cool location like the Spire. I know not very many people like that, but I thought it was a really cool location. Like what happened to that, right? We just get a pit in the ground, and it's hard to navigate, hard to fight, and there was, before the concert, there was that like that ship that was above it, the abductor or whatever, and that was really cool, right? It added a lot of mobility in the center of the map to really help you get anywhere. It was just really cool, and I think they should have kept that. I think that really made it definitely not like Agency Spire middle of the map, but still a really cool part of the map, and I don't know why they removed that. Kind of a similar part to the center of the map, the purple little splotches around the map. I thought, my theory was these were going to grow. All right, these are going to grow, these are going to be big, and eventually the map was going to get corrupted and taken over, but nothing ever happened. They just kind of sit there. I guess it's like Epic Games wanted to make the map a little cooler, so they just kind of added splotches of color. And while I do like the splotches of color and the vibrance they add to the map, it just kind of feels like they were just slapped on there. The map this season, just thinking back to Chapter 2, Season 7, and looking at that map, and then looking at this map and seeing that this map is green with a tiny bit of purple on it, and that map was like a bunch of different biomes and diverse landscapes. This map is just the same thing over and over and over again, and they don't really do anything with it. And when they do, they just remove it, right? Like, imagine if part of Season 5, all the sand and stuff had stayed. Imagine if part of, the winter events, if some of that snow would have stayed, but it didn't. So, overall, I give this map a 6 out of 10. They could have definitely done better, but there was some cool stuff. Now for the loot pool. The loot pool is a very iffy subject this season. There was a lot that I liked and a lot that I didn't like. For starters, the loot pool, it seemed a bit bland. And I'm not saying that there weren't a lot of fun items, but in terms of actual guns, it seemed bland. I feel like when I'm just sitting in a pool of loot, a pool of dead people's loot and stuff, I feel like I always see the same things. It's always a bunch of green and blue guns, maybe a few purple guns, and they're all shotguns, rifles, and maybe some SMGs. And it's all like, pumps or tacks, AKs or ARs, or suppressed or unsuppressed SMGs. And that's it. I feel like they really missed the mark. I mean, the Deagle, that's really cool to have. The hand cannon, that's really cool. It definitely needs a buff in my eyes, but I think that's a really cool gun to have. I think that's really cool. It spices up the loot pool. But that's really, in my opinion, that's really all that is really there to spice it up. I'm glad the pump's in, because for some reason they like to remove that, even though it's like one of the most solid guns in the game. But that's just it's just not very cool. It's not very enticing. It doesn't make me wanna keep playing every single day when I know every single game I'm gonna end up with the same exact loadout. It's like Chapter 2 Season 1 and Chapter 2 Season 2 vibes, But there are definitely a couple more added things that are cool, and we'll start off with those. First off, the pulse rifle. Okay, so at the start of the season, it really didn't have a place. It felt like a really weak Stark rifle, and I think I might have even used like the same sound effects and stuff. And it just didn't really have a place. Like, it rewarded accuracy, because Bloom in Fortnite is horrible, but the damage it did just wasn't enough, right? It's got the same issue that Deagle has, in my opinion, as it were. It rewards accuracy, but it just doesn't hit the mark. The reason that this is going to go in the positive section is because of what they did with it. I think the buff to it was perfect. I think they shouldn't change it at all. No more nerfs, no more buffs. And I honestly hope it's in next season because of the buff. It's got a small magazine size, at least it feels like it. Very slow fire rate, or, medium fire rate if you decide to hip fire. And no bloom, or very small amounts of bloom. And, when you aim in, it's just like the Stark rifle. I'm pretty sure it's just like the Stark rifle, as to where it makes your gun do more damage. And I really like that. I think it's a very solid weapon once they buffed it. And yeah, the mythic still kind of sucks, but pretty solid, awesome gun. Next up, we have the Railgun. There's not much to say about this. It definitely could have done a lot more damage to builds, but it was so clean. Especially when you just hopped into a team rumble and you just kind of picked it up because, like, oh, let's try this out. And then all of a sudden you realize that when people aren't, building everywhere, it's basically a laser. Like, it literally is a laser. It's a very solid gun. Blue one could have probably used a little bit of a buff, but it's one of those guns that on impact doesn't really do much. But if you don't start building, then you're basically dead. Like, if they can hit their shots, it's literally just instantaneous damage. And I also hope they don't remove it. They probably will, but I think it fits really well. I think it's a really cool gun, and it definitely spiced up the loadout a bit. There wasn't much of a place for it in like late game and stuff, because once again, it doesn't break builds very well. So definitely not a replacement for an SMG. And when everybody has spazzes, you want to be able to switch to that secondary, and waiting for that charge up time was just not going to happen. Alrighty, so next up, we have the plasma cannon. Now, I'm going to be honest, when I woke up and I hopped on YouTube to see what they had changed, and I saw this, I was scared. I was like, oh man, that's going to be terrible, right? Like, they're totally going to just destroy the game, and they're going to have to nerf him and stuff, and it's going to be like, it's basically looked like when the rocket launcher could deal damage through builds. Like, it was kind of like that to me. But within a week I realized that it wasn't that at all. It was actually one of my favorite things that they added this season. And that's because it's sweat counter. Okay, if a sweat is just absolutely cranking on you and boxing up for no apparent reason, refuses to actually fight you because they're all wusses and terrible at the game, what you can do, you just spam this thing at them, or you can't really spam it, but you just shoot this thing at them. It does decent damage and it knocks them back and stuff, but it breaks all their builds. There's like nothing they can do to counter it, but it's also not going to completely devastate them. So I think it's pretty balanced. I don't know if I want them to keep it in next season just because it's so, alien-like, but, pretty solid. I really like it. Very unique. It definitely spiced up the loot pool. Yeah, it's pretty good. And for the last thing on our positives list, we have the inflatable. Now, I know they nerfed it and they changed it so it doesn't really follow normal physics anymore, and it's really weird now, but it's still pretty solid, and especially on launch. Like, when this thing first came out, it was so fun. You just bounce down hills, and it actually acted like it would in real life, you know? I think it's the perfect, it's the perfect way to escape an enemy. It's kind of like a baller in a way, in my opinion. Just kind of that, quick mobility, rolling around. I mean, I wish I could grapple onto stuff, but nah. So, yeah, pretty solid. I mean, it's definitely a way to get out of a fight fast, but it does only take one hit to explode, which I think is pretty balanced. It's one of those just funny Fortnite-y items that also fits the season because aliens abducting cows is a thing for some reason. And now we're going to move on to the negatives, which there's not very many items, but the way those items impacted the game, I am just not a fan of. Okay, so you thought sweats were my arch nemesis? Think again. UFOs. Let me tell you the issue with UFOs here is that they didn't think about balancing. Now, obviously everyone's like, oh, just shoot the UFO and it goes down. But let me tell you why they're literally the reincarnation of mechs, okay? First off, unlimited ammo, right? They have this thing that has a really big blast radius, breaks all your builds. I mean, pretty much explodes through your builds, knocks you back, and does 30 damage, which isn't a lot, but it definitely has an impact. You can spam this thing so fast, and there's no end to it. There's not any delay, pretty much. There's basically no penalty for using it. You just spam it and spam it and spam it. At the very least, I'm not defending the mechs here, but at the very least, they had a little bit of a cooldown and stuff, right? You couldn't just spam it completely. I mean, you could just spam it completely, but it wasn't like instantaneous all of the time. This is just super annoying, super unskilled, and I really, really hope they take them out next season. Also, who decided to give these guys literally 3 lives? Who gave them 3 lives? Like, they were overpowered enough already. Who gave them 3 lives? Overall, I hate this item. Next up, we have an item which, in my opinion, really should not have been added to the game. I think it's cool that they tried it, just like, the next item on their list, but I just don't think they should have added it. So basically, the Recon Scanner, it has a cool design, and it's a very unique weapon. And I think it could have fit well, and I think it's very, very good to use. That's the issue. It's one of those guns that you feel like you just kind of have to pick up, and if you don't pick it up, then you're going to put yourself at a disadvantage. It's like the mechs used to be. I'm going to lose the game to another person in the mech, so I might as well use the mech. Right? Like, it's bad and it just kind of ruins the game for everybody. So when you can see people through walls, the issue with that is it's literally wall hacks. And while I think they definitely could do some things to balance this gun out and make it work, it just didn't fit very well, especially with, before they nerfed the railgun. The railgun combo with this thing was just disgusting. I think it could definitely use some improvisation to make it better, but, in its current state and how it will be until the next season, I'm not a fan. And last on my dislikes list, I'm gonna have to put the railgun, okay? I know a lot of people like this, but I really don't like it, man. I think at first, obviously, it was overpowered as heck. You could shoot it through, like, the ground and, like, hit people in the head. I mean, 170 damage to the head with this thing just seems like too much. I mean, it's hit scan, which is cool. I really like that. I think it's a very fun weapon to use, don't get me wrong, but, it doesn't have a place in Fortnite. Let me explain why. Now, this is a gun that first of all breaks walls. It used to be able to break 2, which is just completely broken, and now it can only break 1, which I think is cool, right? I think that's way better. But that makes it kind of bad in a sense. Now, instead of it just being like the heavy sniper or like the old deagle, which I think they should still add to the deagle, now you have to spend all your time charging it up, and by then they've probably moved, and it's just not worth it. But at the same time, it's still a very good weapon. If you can hit your shots with this thing, you basically just sit there, you aim at someone's head while they move and stuff, and then you just hit them in the head every time. The fact that it's hit scan and does that much damage, I don't think that'll ever really fit in Fortnite. And honestly, I think its base damage could be buffed actually a little bit. I think 85 is a little bit low. But the headshot damage being 170, you have people like Cypher PK who can just track people's heads and never miss a shot with it, and there's nothing that enemy can do because it shoots through walls. Especially with the Recon Scanner combo, I think this thing is overpowered, and personally not my favorite. Let's move on to my complete overview, and then theories. Now, this season hasn't really been like any season in Fortnite history ever to me. It's had a lot of good and a lot of bad. As a very casual player who never ever plays arena, doesn't really play creative and play all the sweaty games all that much. He just kind of wants to hop into a battle royale, have fun with his friends, and grind the battle pass. I would say this season, like I said, definitely it has some ups and downs. We'll put it that way. It has some ups and downs. Right, some things that are very positive and some things that are pretty negative. Right, like I said, the map was bland, and the map wasn't bad per se, but it wasn't like super interesting and unique. Right, I'm still thinking Chapter 2 Season 3, maybe Chapter 2 Season 5, where even though I guess in Season 5 not a lot changed around the map, there were just some major changes that actually really affected the game. Instead of just basically bringing Frenzy Farm back, they could have done something way cooler and had it be like an actual base instead of like an underground base. Like had like an actual base beside it or something. I don't know. They could have just done some cooler things. Maybe they could have had like a crashed alien ship or something. Just things that would really show like the battle and the war raging. I think would have been really cool. Especially had that purple stuff spread. Even though it doesn't really change much, just aesthetically, it would be really cool. Like I said, Battle Pass definitely had some ups and downs. Loot pool was a little bit bland, but there was a lot of cool items. There just wasn't a lot of cool guns. So overall, I'm gonna give the map a 6 out of 10. Battle Pass, I'm gonna give a 6.5 out of 10. Loot pool, I'm gonna give a 7 out of 10, and overall, I'm gonna give this season a 7 out of 10. It was a pretty, I wouldn't say solid season, but it was a pretty good season. It was good. The updates throughout the season were pretty consistent and actually added stuff like you had the Ferrari update, you had the abductions, you had new guns or really new items. You had some major changes to things like the pulse rifle and the AK, and I think it really fit. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But now let's move on to some theories. Alrighty, so I'm gonna actually put some theories in this video because I guessed right last time. Right, last season I guessed some very specific things. I guessed that the burst would be coming back. I guessed that there would be purple on the map. I also guessed something super specific. I guessed that there would be mounted turrets in the game, but you wouldn't be able to move them. They would be stuck in one spot. And what do you know? You go to the IO bases, there's mounted turrets, and they're stuck in one spot, can't move them. I mean, I don't know how I did it, but I guessed some pretty cool stuff. There were some other things too. So I think I might as well share some, and we'll see if they're right. So basically, the big theory right now is it's gonna be like this Egyptian season thing, and I don't actually believe that. That wouldn't make any sense. And okay, here's why. It would be really cool. Don't get me wrong. I play Pixel Gun on my phone, and it's like an Egyptian season right now, and it's really cool. But what? Like, think about that. It doesn't make much sense, right? Like, at least you can say like, random alien invasion. They came from space. At least you can pull that. But with Egyptian stuff, you can't just randomly say like, oh, Egyptian invasion. They just randomly came from 2,000 years ago or whatever. Like, that just doesn't make much sense, right? Also, they would be like sand themed, and we already had a season with a bunch of sand, which kind of seems like how Fortnite wants to do it this chapter. Just kind of have like one season themed like something, and then like take it back. Like there was sand that season, now it's gone. There was orange last season, or 2 seasons ago, probably once you're watching this video, and that's gone now. They kind of just add this stuff and they take it away. I don't think they would add another very sand-based thing. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily mind it, but, I think it'll be like a small sub-part of the season, right? Kind of like how, Tilted Towers coming back in a form was only a small sub-part of Season 5, but it was still like a really big thing, right? I've heard theories of the last reality, which I think would be really cool. I've heard theories of a new map, which would be amazing. This map certainly isn't bad, but it's just like they just bring the old map back, and that's all you have to do to just revive your game. Like, I don't know why they don't just do that, but it's Epic Games. They don't exactly tend to be absolutely, smart people. Season 10. Sorry. Yeah, they don't always do things right, Nate. We all make mistakes. We all deserve to be forgiven for those mistakes. But, you know, I don't see why they don't just bring the old map back. That's all they really got to do. And I will literally play this game every single day. And I will basically drop all my other games. Like, I'm just saying, man. But yeah, not. In terms of theories, I honestly think it's gonna be. I don't think we're getting a new map. And if we do get a new map, then it'll be something kind of like this map. You know, I think it might be some sort of brokenness. Like the last reality, it says I think the mothership's gonna crash and might hit the 0 point. Apparently, there's gonna be a black hole. I don't know, but I feel like the map's gonna kind of be like broken up in some way. Like kind of like how season 3 was all kind of divided by the water. Like I feel like this map will be broken up and there'll be like kind of like different shards of the map, almost different little islands and places, because like it's broken, it's been exploded. You know, maybe a bunch of different realities. Like maybe there will be old stuff. Like maybe it'll be a better version of season 5 where they'll have different like old locations and stuff coming back. I think that would be really cool. Maybe they'll have things from like it'll be like season 10 basically. Now that I think about it, middle of my sentence, they'll have things like Tilted Town, you know, things from like old ages and stuff come back, and they'll have things from the future. They'll have things from the old map, like they kind of did with season 10, bringing back some old locations. You know, I think that would be really cool, and I think they might do some of that. You know, in terms of the loadout, I think they're gonna vault the AK. I think they're gonna vault all of the IO and alien weapons. Unfortunately, I really hope they don't, but I'm going to say hunting rifles come back, because hunting rifles were one of my favorite parts of Season 3, and I think pretty much the whole community liked them, you know. I think we're going to get mythics and mythic bosses back, hopefully in a nerfed form, so not like Season 2, because that was just a pain, but, you know, hopefully we're going to get something like that. I think we're going to get some mythic bosses and stuff back, not just Sloan, you know. Yeah, I also want to say I am stuttering right now, and I don't even stutter, so I don't know what's up with that, but it might just be nervousness talking to the camera. I don't know, I don't do this very often because I'm not like big YouTuber guy, but you know, yeah, let's see here. I'm gonna say the lever, the rapid, and either the burst is gonna come back as a normal weapon or the burst is gonna get vaulted. That's my theory. I would love for them to keep the AUG in the game, but vault the burst, normal burst, because I don't think anybody really uses the normal burst. Let's be real, especially when they made it a two round burst. That's just not very useful. Let's be real. Yeah, but I think the lever and rapid fire are unfortunately gone because they're very fun weapons, very cool weapons. But I think crafting is definitely going to change a lot. They're going to have a new crafting material or whatever. And yeah. I'm going to say vending machines stay. Just going to throw it out there because they came this season. You know, I'm going to say bots stay, unfortunately. Like AI in the game stays. I wish they could do like mythics where like it wasn't a boss. Maybe it was just like something you had to destroy to get it and get the vault key card with it and stuff. I think that would be a lot cooler than having AI, because it's so frustrating to die to a bot in a game that's supposed to be about fighting real people. So yeah, there's that. Let's see here. I say we're going to get a new biome. I know that's kind of crazy because I don't like to do those a ton, at least keep them, but I say we're going to get a new biome, new color, you know. I mean, if I could theorize and basically just say all the things I wanted, I would be like, oh, Tilted comes back, Paradise comes back, you know. All these different cool locations. The volcano comes back, you know. That would be sick, but let's be real, that's just never gonna happen all at once. I mean, unless they bring the old map back, which would be amazing, but I don't see them doing that. I'm also gonna go ahead and say that the skins after tier 100 are gonna stay, but there's gonna be something different. I say it's gonna be more like season 2 or season 3, where it kind of upgrades instead of just buying the rainbow skins and stuff. I believe it'll be both. I believe you'll be able to buy rainbow skin styles and stuff, but I believe at least one skin in the battle pass is going to be upgradable and stuff. Like, that's my theory. Like, Midas and stuff slowly turned gold, you know. The Eternal Night skin slowly turned, like, glowy and cool and stuff. I say we're going to have that. I say we're going to get that. I think that'll be really cool. You know, let's see here. I predict an old shotgun, at least one old shotgun is going to come back, or we're going to get a mythic shotgun, because apparently we're going to get a mythic shotgun. I don't think it's going to be a pump. I think we're going to get an old shotgun or a new shotgun in some way, and I mean, I can't wait. I'm so tired of the nerfed tac meta and the nerfed pump meta, okay? Buff the pump back to what it used to be. You know, blue pump's doing 200 damage to the head. Yes, please. Buff the tacs back to what they used to be. I mean, I'm just saying, man, that would be really cool. And I do not see it happening. I'm just gonna say that, but I think that they should do that. Let's say that. Let's put it that way. I predict a new vehicle of some sort. Maybe it's like a rideable animal or something. Maybe it's like a new version of like UFOs or something, like a new spaceship type thing. I don't know. Yeah, just throwing that out there. That's basically all the theories I have. I just hope I get like all the specifics right stuff, because you know, last season I did a pretty good job, you know, telling my friends that stuff. Hey, look, you made it to the end of the video. That's actually crazy. Thank you so much for watching your video. I know I'm just some random kid you'd probably wouldn't want to spend time watching a video on his opinion, but if you did, that's amazing. Round of applause for you. Yeah, I mean, if any of these theories are right, you can go. I mean, it would be sick if you would go, like, comment down in some YouTuber's channel, like, hey, yo, this dude, he's Kate90, he got this right, he predicted this, because I predicted quite a few things last season. I mean, I don't know, getting a shout out from, like, Cypher PK or something, just gonna say that would be pretty cool. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Tell me if you agree down in the comments. Tell me what you don't agree down in the comments, and, yeah, have a nice day, guys. That would be pretty sick.